So on this video, I'm trying to ride from Springfield, Ohio up to Urbana, Ohio. A total trip should be around 44, 45 miles. You can see I'm starting out on the Buck Creek Trail, which is 40, going to the Kenton Trail, which is 3. I started here at the Buck Creek Reservoir. I think it's the C.J. Brown Reservoir. I've heard it named different things. When I was a young adult, I used to spend some time on this beach, laying out in the sand, working on my sunburn for 3 hours at a time. I don't even know who that person is. I can't believe I ever had the time for that. The Buck Creek Trail is really kind of low on scenery, at least to start. It gets a little bit better as you go on. This next section coming up after this one here is along the spillway. It's okay. So this intersection was kind of humorous and typical. Like half the cars stop. You can see somebody on the right is stopping. The cars on the left keep going. I eventually just go ahead and gun it across the intersection. I hope I waved, but it's hard to say whether I did that or not. So I've just crossed over Croft Road, and I'm continuing down the trail. It's pretty scenic at this point. I think to my right is Buck Creek. To the left is, I think they're actually, it's part of the spillway again, but it makes for some good scenery. It's kind of shallow, although I do believe I saw somebody fishing down towards this end here. That would be the southern end. They call this Old Reed Park, this area. There had been rumors in the parking lot before I left. I actually talked to a guy, and he said that one of the bridges was out on Buck Creek Trail, and I couldn't get the Simon Kenton Trail, but I had just had to go and find out for myself. So as it turns out, the rumors are true. I am going to find out the bridge is out up here. I just kind of had to go find out for myself. It really cuts Buck Creek Trail short and puts the whole idea of this route in jeopardy as a good idea. The workaround was to go back to Croft Road, go for about a half a mile on Croft, go on Route 4 for about a half a mile to Middle Urbana, and then I took Middle Urbana to Villa for probably 2 or 3 miles, and that ties you back into the trail, like north of Springfield. To be honest with you, the detour wasn't the worst. You just hate to double back. Croft was a climb. It wasn't a great climb, and I'm not good at climbing anymore. I was nervous about Route 4, but most of Route 4 that you're on, there's actually 2 lanes. Middle Urbana, I don't know if there's a bike lane there or not. They had just put new asphalt down, so it was at least smooth. And Villa is 2 or 3 lanes, but it didn't seem that busy, at least the time of the day that I was there. I did, however, had some difficulty finding this trailhead in northern Springfield, and at this point, this is the Simon Kenton Trail. So at this point, I'm assuming that the trail is running parallel to Route 68, but during the ride, I was actually too lazy to even investigate, but that's how I remembered it. So the trail seems to have a slight upgrade as you're going to Urbana, but then it drops. Ultimately, this trail goes to Bell Fountain. Bell Fountain is the highest point in Ohio, which isn't really saying much, so you would assume like an uphill grade there. So the trail actually is running adjacent to it looks like an active line. I caught sight of it, train cars over on the right, and they stay over on the right for quite a long time. So I know you can't see it, but at this point I can still see the train over to my right. Then suddenly it disappears, just like my prom date, my senior year. So I couldn't help myself. I went ahead and hopped off the bike and took a look north at the trail, then took a look at south at the train that was there. I don't know how long that train had been sitting there, but they do seem to leave their trains on the track for a long time. This might be a good place to mention that the Simon Kenton Trail was formerly part of the Pennsylvania Railroad. Railroad lines seem to change ownership over times, but the Pennsylvania Railroad was in its heyday in the 1870s. It connected places like Pittsburgh, Columbus, Chicago, and St. Louis. I got kind of curious here or cautious here because I was approaching this section of trail. I'd never seen it before, uh, and apparently it's a trailhead. I should have known that because I saw some people coming at me in the other direction. But this was kind of fun. You're going downhill, and then you go into a tunnel, and I just kind of let it loose there. I mean, I'm not going very fast, but this tunnel was a lot of fun. Somehow it reminded me of Birth. So this guy passing me, he's asking me if the trail's closed up ahead. I told him I didn't know, but he would find out well before I did. That guy was super nice, and as it turns out, I talked to him a little bit later on. And they do end up closing that trail in downtown Urbana. It's kind of an awkward place to be closed. And the sign says they're going to close it for 65 days. Of course, they don't tell you when that starts and when that ends. But they did have a phone number on the sign. Urbana is an interesting town. I had a couple objectives in Urbana rather. The Lincoln train, actually the funeral train passed through Urbana. I wanted to see that place. I wanted to find Simon Kenton's grave. The trail is named after Simon Kenton. Another thing I wanted to do was visit the University of Urbana, which is a university had been there forever that had closed. Also, there was a 9/11 park with a memorial for a local graduate who actually was a flight attendant on the second plane to hit the towers who passed away. Urbana's population, I believe, is holding steady around 10,000, 11,000 people. It is the county seat of Champaign County, and it's one of several Urbanas in the United States, but it's my understanding this is the first Urbana. So they shut the trail down right at a restored depot, which now serves as a coffee house, and it's kind of a diner too. It's definitely worth a look if you're ever there. So the UE definitely caught my eye, and it made the name of the coffee shop definitely make sense. Urbana was also one of the 100 stops on the Lincoln Funeral Train. There's a rendering of the train. Uh, did a little cruising around in the neighborhoods. This is north of 36, just to kind of get an idea of the type of housing here. You can see there's kind of like a wide variety of housing. This looks like modest housing, no matter when it was built, though. While cruising through the neighborhood, I found this memorial or this plaque about a war council that met in 1812. I think they actually met closer to this cemetery, which is south of 36 and where Simon Kenton is buried. Kenton was a frontiersman and a soldier. He moved to Urbana in 1810. He served in the American Revolutionary War, the Northwest Indian War, and the War of 1812. Here's his gravesite. It's pretty nondescript. Here's a statue memorial for him in the cemetery. So I was able to ride through the former campus of Urbana University. Urbana University was founded in 1850. It closed due to declining enrollments. For a period of time, it was a branch campus of Franklin University. And then when COVID came along, I think that pretty much did it in. As you take a look at some of the buildings, you'll see a DNA Academy sign. A couple years ago, the property was bought by this organization, I think it's PD, and they set up DNA Academy, which is a prep school. Their plan, I think, is to prepare athletes in the major sports right now, let's see, football, basketball, soccer, for the next step to be recruited in college. This is one of the buildings. It looks like a newer building. I'm not even sure if it's being used. A zombie rabbit runs out in front of me here. Earlier, actually, a deer was in the parking lot, and my action camera didn't pick it up. There's another PD sign. Those are turkey vultures, I think, on that roof, if you didn't pick that up. So the trouble with these universities or these large campuses is that there's a lot of maintenance that has to go on. I'm guessing that the DNA Academy is probably using like less than half of these buildings. That's got to be a maintenance problem with buildings sitting vacant, but I don't know. That's their business. A lot of small universities in Ohio and probably nationwide are struggling to survive. It'll be interesting to see what happens. Urbana University very well could be a bell ringer. It could be a sign of more universities to close in the future. I know one of the universities that I wanted to go to, Notre Dame College for some professional development. That's Notre Dame College of Ohio. The other year I found out that they closed. So still kind of cycling through the campus area. It looks like, I don't know, are they rolling hay right there? So at least they're using the grass. I don't know. I kind of had the feeling that, the parking was shut off. I saw somebody mowing there, but I kind of had the feeling that I probably shouldn't be there. So I went ahead first opportunity and rolled back out of the parking lot. When there's a gate up across the parking lot, maybe that's a sign you're not supposed to be there. But I didn't see any no trespassing signs, so maybe I was okay. Anyways, Urbana University had to be very important for a city the size of Urbana. You think about the job impact and all that. I'm glad that DNA Academy is there, and I hope it works out for them. So here I am riding through a town again. I'm south of 36. This house over here in yellow is a nice looking house. I was kind of turned off by the Michigan flag, but otherwise it's a good looking house. So the houses in this neighborhood appear to be a little bit bigger. I don't really know where it is at, but I noticed off to the left at one point there was a historical marker for like Johnny Appleseed's first farmstead in Ohio. I didn't stop in there. I didn't feel like I had the time. I've been lost in Urbana quite a bit, and I was actually just kind of looking forward to heading back to Springfield. So, in my estimation, Urbana is a little city with a lot of history, and I think they do a pretty good job of telling that history, or they've tried to. There are some spots that I missed. I noticed like I just mentioned, the Johnny Appleseed farmstead to the left. But there's also, I believe, like a Johnny Appleseed museum in town. Also, in close proximity to town, I think there is a museum, and they're restoring a World War II aircraft. I think it's a B-17. I didn't make it there either. I'll have to save that stuff for another visit. But I did get to see quite a bit. So looking back, Buck Creek Trail was kind of a disappointment just because that bridge was out, though. The detour through Springfield wasn't that bad, but I haven't seen that posted anywhere. Simon Kenton Trail, pretty good condition. I think that's maintained by a private group, so I appreciate that. I enjoyed the ride. I think you should consider it as well. So here I am rolling up to Route 36, and this ride is history. Talk to you next time.